Hello, everyone. This is Rick Henner. While I won't be commentating, I will be here to talk about our upcoming match with Team OND Flame versus Team OND Feather. We have basically a split between the North American half of the team and the EU half of the team, with the participants for Flame today being Ilya K as the lead on Argenport Aggro, Shed on Aggro Cambrai, and Unearthly on Recon Chalice? We are about as confused as y'all are, although Unearthly has been saying that he wants to practice multiple decks before ETS Worlds. And so he's using Season 6 and apparently Team League as kind of a time to experiment. And
Does this mean we can look forward to more Chalice mirrors at Worlds?
No. No, we can't look forward to those.
And then on OND Feather, we have Hoth leading with Burn Queen, Angrychicken playing big Feln control. Once again, if you've run into Angrychicken on ladder, he actually does really like to play Feln control. So this is not actually that out of character for Angrychicken to be playing Feln control. And Flash playing Rakano Plate. As you may have heard earlier, we also have LightsOutAce and X Kirby here with us. So what are your thoughts on the matches, guys?
Well, I think that Chalice doesn't really have any great matchups here. Like both of the aggro decks are something that you'd rather not face, and then the Feln control deck has a Gift Omen main deck. So I think that I'm not really that happy if I'm Unearthly here.
As we saw yesterday. Oh, sorry, Kirby.
I don't hate Chalice versus Rakano because most of the removal you have becomes more in favor of you because they keep trying to put weapons on things, so you just automatically get 2-for-1s. But it can go either way.
Yeah, I think now that post set 2 Chalice has Island's Choice, so you can fast speed vanquish a thing after a weapon has been equipped. It's maybe a little more in favor of Chalice than it was in set 1. Although I think it kind of comes down to the exact quantities of cards in the list. Like, the historical Rakano tech was Oathbook, but Flash does not have Oathbooks in main. He has them in the sideboard. So I think it might be still slightly favored for Chalice in game 1, if it comes down to
that. I'm also only seeing 2 protects in there for Flash, so not liking his odds versus Chalice, but hopefully we won't have to see any Chalice.
Yeah, but they are in the main. The 2 protects are in main. He has 2 more inside.
Yeah.
I have to say, my favorite list out of all these has got to be Shed's Aggro Cambrai deck. I'm a big fan of Copper Hall Elite Stand Together in a format where you're going to face a lot of Chalice, Feln, and Burn. I like Aggro Cambrai with Stand Together and Copper Hall Elite in all 3 of those matchups.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think Shed might have to do some carrying because I don't think. I think Argenport Aggro versus Burn Queen is a very kind of do you draw your Bloodletters and Falchions sort of matchup? Because Burn Queen will get under Argenport Aggro.
Oh, easily.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, Argenport Aggro isn't that good, right? Like, you're lacking, like, the super good weapons of Kano. You're lacking the burn reach of Stonescar. But you do have Bartholo plus weapons. If you assemble Bartholo plus Let's Ride Felchion...
And really, even just like a Valkyrie Enforcer plus a Bloodletter is... can be fairly hard for Burn Queen to deal with, depending on if they have Annihilate in main, and Toth does not. So in the first game, the only real answers to a 6/6 flyer are the 4 Obliterate.
What I'm hearing is Ilya's actually just playing a combo deck. Like,
yes, the combo of Bartholo plus weapon.
Yeah, but like if he doesn't draw the combo of big unit plus big weapons, it sounds like he's a bit dead in the water. Like, you have some decent units, you have decent cards, but I think if he's going to not be able to put them together, I think he's going to be struggling.
This is true, but I mean, that's kind of
Ilya's been jamming his deck on ladder for the last week. I guess the only takeaway I have from that is it's not very good against
You cut out at the end there, Ace. What do you think it's not good against?
Oh, it's not good against Knucklebones.
Well,
Okay. This tells us exactly nothing.
Doing a quick search in the decklist document, I'm finding 0 people brought Knucklebones today. So
This doesn't surprise me.
I really shouldn't surprise anyone, I don't think.
I can't be the only one who loves Knucklebones.
Oh, you might like it, but I don't think it's a particularly competitive idea.
So coming down off LightsOutAce, Only Flame is the only team that did not bring a Burn Queen list, or Stonescar Aggro, whatever you want to call it. Electing instead with their, honestly, Burn Queen's kind of mastermind Unearthly. He played the deck to a win and in week 1 of season 6, and then people started copying it and what have you. He's gone a totally different way with that Chalice list, so they've decided not to include it in their repertoire, which kind of makes sense given that they've gone with 2 other aggro lists here.
And I can see where they're trying to go with this. Like, if they have the 2 aggro lists in there, they don't want the 3rd aggro list, so they might as well bring in another deck, which might as well be Chalice. But I just don't know if not bringing Burn Queen was the right move, because Burn Queen has proven to be a very effective deck. I'm struggling to see why you wouldn't bring it right now.
Yeah, after the first 2 weeks of ETS this season, and obviously they didn't know, how the first set would go before they submit deck list, but Burn Queen put on a little bit of a show in our last match, or last set rather. Sorry.
Yeah, the thing about Burn Queen is no matter how hard you metagame against it, it's always got like at least a 40% chance to win. Like, it just doesn't have any atrocious matchups. Just a very good deck.
So we just saw, like last match, Burn Queen take down 3 people in a row. Just 3 completely different decks, at least one of which was presumably ready for their opponent to be playing Burn Queen. And, I mean, maybe that answer is the mirror, right? Which we saw there. They had their own Burn Queen deck that they sent out. They had their plan, and it just... That's not quite where you want to be in the coin flip situation, right? So.
Well, I think the Burn Queen deck that Team Titan brought was actually fairly favored in the mirror, because they had Suffocates in the main, whereas Overmaster's list did not. But a little bit of poor draw luck on Tobo's behalf was kind of maybe a little responsible for how that match went. Even EWC was kind of saying, "Poor Tobo," when they saw some of his draws. But that's the way card games work.
Okay, so let's now take a look at these initial matchups that we have here, which is the Argenport aggro list versus the Stonescar aggro. We've seen the Stonescar aggro more than once. So let's take a look then at this Argenport aggro list and see how well that lines up.
So this is much more aggressive than the Argenport deck that we saw GHP play in the last set. And it's way more aggressive than the initial Argenport decks that we saw when Omens of the Past came out, pioneered by Bruised by God. And this one has District Infantry, Blood Beetle, Minotaur, Oathkeeper. You want to slam a 1-drop, and you want to clear the way with Suffocate, Rapid Shot, Vanquish, Slay, and you just want to get them as fast as you can.
Yeah. Blood Beetle, not a card that we've seen since some of the pioneering Stonescar Queen lists, or Bandit Queen lists back in the day. Oathkeeper, a very interesting card. Unfortunately, I'm not Miller Tool, so I don't have these cards on standby, but it is a 1-power 1/1 that has sort of the Oathbook effect temporarily. So anytime a unit attacks alone, it gets +1/+1 that turn. Interesting that we see that card, but no actual Oathbooks in the list.
I think Oathbook's a bit slow in the list, to be honest. Like, if you're committing to an Oathbook, you're committing to playing that on turn 2, or whenever you have it in your hand, and you're not committing to doing anything else that turn. With the amount of 1/2 drops that Ilya has, I don't think he wants to be just having to commit to doing that turn. It also means he can only attack with 1 unit per turn, and again, if he has all those low drops, he wants to be spacing as much as possible.
Yeah, and he's You know, he's got a fair amount of life gain too in the board with it, or with his bloodletters and his falchions and what have you. So this game could easily turn into a racing situation, and then it sort of is like, who's got the better removals, Stonescar or Argenport? And they both have a whole lot of cards to throw at each other's units, so this is going to be a bit of a bloodbath.
I would argue Argenport has the better removal, and you have access to the good shadow stuff still, but you also have Slay and Vanquish, and Slay is basically one of the best removal in the game.
All right.
Plus, removal doesn't work so well against Bartholo.
Yes. Okay, so players are actually ready to go, and we're a little bit ahead of our 1:30 start time, which is nice. So we will be moving into our first match between Ilya K on Argenport Aggro and Toth 201 on Burn Queen, the sister match between OND Feather and OND Flame. So let's head down into game.
All right, so Ilya with the play, very important in a matchup like this.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a Bartholo in the opener, but not a weapon. So we'll see if he elects to keep this hand.
Yeah, and Toth with a nice set of units. Doesn't have the 4th power, but he gets to go 1, 2, and then has the 2 Impending Dooms to back himself up. Impending Doom dies to a lot of stuff, honestly, out of the Argenport deck. You know, the Vanquishes, the Slays, all the stuff. So it's kind of a slow card. Doesn't block the Bartholomew too well, so we'll see how it lines up. But speaking now, just as we have a moment, Toth 201, despite almost certainly having at least one of the Scions, is rocking just, you know, the traditional Sandstorm Titan. Nothing wrong with that. And we see, I think we've now seen 4 out of 5 of the Scions across 2 weeks, with Island out of Ilya K, which is far better than that Cloud Snake Harry or whatever he was running previously.
Yeah, the Island Run is my favorite. I haven't gotten level 50. I hope I get there soon.
All right.
I was surprised when they came up with the progression that Justice was actually my highest.
Well, that's certainly interesting. You would have pegged you for a Primal player, like I'm sure you pegged yourself. But yes, we're back into game, and we see a District Infantry staring at an Oni Ronin, and I don't think either of these players are hanging back. We got Instigator, we got 3/3 Infantry, and it's just going to be punches from both sides.
Yeah, Infantry does not block very well. It's attack or nothing. Oh, and Ilya finds the second half of the Bart Falchion combo. So if he hits 2 power in the next like 3 or 4 draws, I think he's going to be able to win this game. And if he doesn't, I think he's going to get buried by Toth.
Yeah, as he's the one with the Suffocate and Rapid Shot. No one's blocking in this matchup. In all honesty, this is almost exclusively a racing one. So
go face. Blocking is cheat. Right, so Toth has to decide here between deploying his 2-drop or suffocating Ilya's Instigator. And it looks like he opts to just play his own Instigator, foregoing his turn 2 attack.
Yeah, but he can go 2-drop plus Suffocate next turn for sure. So it probably sets him up better overall. Ilya K did find the 3rd power right on time, and so can play Bart if he wants to, but can't deploy Falchion unless he draws an undepleted Shadow Source. So the combo's not quite together yet.
Yeah, that's kind of a tall order, both undepleted and Shadow. He doesn't run very many Shadow Sigils. But even the fail case of like fail case in air quotes of Bulk Reinforcer is still really good.
Well, the more time that Toth has to deploy these Impending Dooms before Ilya K draws any actual removal is going to be really good for him, because Bart can chip away for 2 a turn. Toth doesn't really care, because he wasn't blocking anyways. Although it looks like he'll elect to make this trade here, as it was offered.
Yeah, Ilya didn't want to give away that he had a Rapid Shot, so he played the pre-combat, deciding he wasn't going to use
Rapid Shot this turn, yes. So Toth now left with a bit of a weaker turn 3. He didn't draw anything good to play. He's just drew an Obliterate, so no power, no nothing. So he can play the Rakano Outlaw. But then what do you do? do you just suffocate the Bard to open it up to your next removal spell? That might be his best line. Do you hold the suffocate? You know,
I think you have to play it and hope you draw power for Doom next turn. But yeah, he's got his choice of targets, and he's debating long and hard over which it should be: the Bart's Aegis or the District Infantry.
Yes. And you see a bit of a difference in playstyles here, whereas Ilya sort of figured out his entire turn before he went with it. Toth is sort of doing the things that he definitely is going to do, and then figuring out what he's going to do next, which does reveal that he might have more plays, you know, with the extra power.
This is basically 100% saying you have Suffocate, because there's no pause on the attack, and then he played a unit and is just sticking here on 1 power. I guess it could be like a very elaborate bluff, but...
Alright, so elects to use it, does choose to take out the Aegis, potentially fearing that Falchion follow-up, and wanting to expose it, because I mean, if it gains power, I don't quite remember how Suffocate Rapid Shot interaction works when Aegis is involved.
The Aegis would not be popped because the unit would no longer be a legal target for the Suffocate.
Okay, so the Suffocate just fizzles then?
Yes.
Because I know that's what happens when Aegis is not involved, but I wasn't sure if the spell targeting was enough, a la False Prince, or if you needed the spell effect. So...
Alright, so Ilya found the 4th power in the 2nd shadow, so let's get that fun interactive copy pasta in chat, because it is Bart time.
Well, the good news for Toth is that he can draw a removal spell or an undepleted power and not die.
Oh, Ilya drew a Vanquish. That might be even better. Jeez. That gets in for 5, and then lets him use Left Right Felchan for lethal next turn with either Bart or Volk Reinforcer, depending on what Toth does.
Yep, looks like he's going for it. And he rapid shots for to bring it to 9 damage. Okay.
Oh yeah, so yeah, do it while Toth is powered down and can't do anything. Now Toth has to find 2 removal spells on only 4 power, and he fails to do basically impossible task.
Yes. And falls down in the first match to Argenport Aggro. So Argenport Aggro actually got the edge in that match, and we will hop over to Feather to see how they're going to respond, I believe. Yes.
Take out.
Oh right, it's best of 3, not best of 5, so we actually have to sideboard now.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable though to cut the Pyro Knights. That seems fair.
All of the Pyros or 2?
I think 2.
I
You still
mean,
want 1 drops.
Okay.
The question is, do we want Pyro Knight or Oni Ronin? Oni Ronin is better than snowballing, but Pyro Knight is insurance.
I don't think we'll often. Well, I mean, disregarding my prone to flooding, I don't think we're gonna spend 6 all that often in this matchup.
Yeah, we run high-end cards.
6 is a very lofty goal here.
Yeah, I think Oni is a better choice.
Yeah, keep Oni running.
Okay.
I mean, not because he's more likely to be the beatdown that we can't be, so it's possible to go Ronin into Instigator and he has nothing, then okay.
Yeah, it's better. Let's just do it like that.
So what's the current sideboard plan you have right now?
Just post it so you can see.
Okay.
Because my brain isn't.
Wait, post it where?
A Feather.
Yeah, if you look at Stonescar versus Argenport, a bit up.
You're following that one exactly now because
no,
the
we're
minus...
taking out 2 Pyro Knights and putting in 2 Suffocates.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I still think you want all 3, but okay.
Why do we? Yeah, that's fair. I think you could. No, I agree.
Not all. Don't put in the extra Bandit Queen. That's what I'm thinking.
I wouldn't play the Sabotage, the 4th one, over the 3rd Suffocates.
Yeah, but weapons is how we lose this match, so we really want
guys,
to
we need to make a decision. Do we take out the 4th Bandit Queen for a Suffocate?
I'd say
like 3
Bandit
minutes.
Queens is enough, my opinion.
3 minutes, you need to chill.
Yeah, but
Yeah, I guess that's fine. You can cut the Bandit Queen for the third suffocate.
I mean, we already have 3 queens, so
Yeah, no,
okay,
that's
it's a good card.
that's probably correct. I like short units.
okay. This is the list we're gonna go.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
I was about to do something stupid. Yeah, that's fine. I think we can go with that.
Wait, how are you looking at the list?
I'm looking at the deck and then looking at what we said.
Oh, I see. I was thinking maybe you had some Steam's broadcasting thing on or something that I didn't know about.
I am psychic.
Yeah, that
think
we
we keep-
already knew.
Yeah. Who's on the play?
I'm not. Eliak is on the play again.
Oh.
Of course,
Actually,
he is.
Yeah.
I could watch it from your Steam thing. Actually,
All right, and here we are for game 2. Ilya on the play again with the 2 depleted banners, but so he'll come out a little slow, but otherwise very good looking hand. Looks like Toth opted to bring in Sabotage. As we heard in the sideboarding chat, the way that Burn Queen loses this matchup is to unit plus weapon. So Sabotage breaks up half of that, takes a weapon or a removal spell aimed at one of your own units. So yeah, I like Sabotage. All right, and Ilya just opts to redraw completely. And that's a solid curve. Instigator into Bart.
Oh, I've been muted. Whoops. Trying to let the players talk. Yes. Ilya K has a couple units, but no interaction. Whereas Toth 201 has a fair amount of interaction, but might be sad when his Sabotage misses.
Yeah, that always feels bad. Fortunately for him, he is not probably going to play for another 2 turns, so it gives Ilya 2 more draw steps to maybe find a weapon.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think here? I assume that Instigator is the most common line. Yeah, and that is what Ilya K elects to go for.
You were thinking maybe Overseer, since you expect your first unit to die anyways, so you'd rather have the worst one die?
No, I mean, if he's trying to just push in for damage, obviously the Instigator blocks the best, but it also baits out all the removal. So like you said, baiting removal. If he had a 3-drop, it might be better to go for the, for the flyer there, because it's more likely to survive. Because your opponent's not... Toth is pretty unlikely to kill the Overseer, because there's not a lot of things that punish him for it before he's there. He's just more interested in racing.
Yeah, he could have just slammed Outlaw and kept on attacking. And this ended up working out really well, because then Toth was going to use the Suffocate, so he might as well use other power for Sabotage, right? But then Sabotage misses completely.
Yep. So you said he wouldn't play it for a little bit. Well, he played it, and it didn't quite work out for him. But Ilya K, not super in the driver's seat. Like, he can play Bart here, but he really needs to put something on Bart, because poking away for 2 a turn is a pretty slow clock. But he did draw an Annihilate, so he does have a bit more interaction. And Toth still needs to find a power in order to really get up to his Bandit Queens and what have you.
Yeah, unfortunately for Toth, Annihilate can't target Bart even to pop the Aegis, so if Ilya does find some pants, this game is going to be over quickly. But in the meantime, like, Annihilate plus Tinker Overseer is not a bad turn at all. Like, it keeps him competitive. Oh, and Valkyrie Enforcer is a solid draw, though that does just get annihilated. Ooh, Var's favor, very good. Now Toth can pop the Aegis and kill the Valkyrie Enforcer. I mean, he's 1 power away from an Obliterate, finishing off that Bart.
Or next turn, he can just deploy Bandit Queen and get in for a lot of damage if he doesn't draw the power for Obliterate. He's in pretty good shape because, well, Ilya may feel obliged to use his Annihilate on the next turn, but then any sort of Impending Doom that Toth draws is going to stick, and just being able to obliterate that Bart when you really need to is going to prevent a lot of the stuff, a lot of the major damage that Ilya K is going to be able to do, especially when he's down on 9. Obliterating Face starts to look better and better as you get down on there.
Yeah, and if Toth draws a power, I think he's kind of got it on lock, because then he does have the answer to a Felchian or Bloodletter, which I think is the only way Ilya's getting back in this game. Yep, and there it is. All right, another Obliterate is not what he wants. So Toth is now trading 5 damage per turn for 6 damage and 6 health. So each turn, Toth is going down 5 and Ilya is going up 1 until Toth finds that 5th power.
Okay, so Bart doing Bart things with some highly interactive lifesteal action going on here, and yeah, I mean you can kill the 2/2, but he at least does have
block, kill, or race the Bartholo though.
he does at least have 3 turns since he can annihilate here. And Ilya K, he did find something. Okay, so that adds a bit more complexity to the clock. But the Shadow Sigil is there, and the Obliterate will certainly be coming out on the Bart. And the
All right, so
sits
now the question becomes whether 12 points was too much of a swing for a 2-for-1. This puts Ilya to 12 after the Obliterate.
Well, Bart got to attack twice, right? So that was actually a 24-point health swing in Ilya K's favor. But things do reset a bit as Ilya K goes down to 12, and then Toth probably doesn't want to poke in with his Bandit Queen here because Ilya K will just take it and then attack him back.
Yeah, I think you don't attack, and the next turn you can Obliterate and attack.
Mm-hmm. So then we're in full Battle of the Top Decks territory.
Oh, he does go in. Okay, so basically what he's saying here is Argenport doesn't have any reach. I don't think you have another Felchion in hand. So this way I can Obliterate next turn and win the game.
Okay. That's fair, yeah. Ilya K may be forced to leave back his Instigator, or if he does attack, he may just leave himself dead to the crackback. So even if he does have another Falchion, Toth would just need to jump with the 2/2 anyways, so he gets a little bit more damage in. The problem in this lies is if Ilya K draws like one of his larger units, and then this chump is forced out, and there's less of a clock.
A really interesting chump there. So Toth wasn't dead to Finest Hour, and now because he chumped, he doesn't have lethal here.
Mm-hmm.
So now he's got to like Obliterate the Tinker Overseer, and he's dead to Finest Hour again anyways.
Yeah, an interesting choice.
What
I think you have to Obliterate.
Could he have been playing around? I guess he's playing on Rapid Shot there.
Yes.
How many Rapid Shots does Ilya play?
Pre-board, he plays 3. He has 4 across both sides. So.
Okay, so that's a reasonable block. Yeah. Playing around Rapid Shot.
Again, presumably they're still in because this is a matchup where no one blocks, and Rapid Shot is great when you're not blocking. But this attack and presumable Obliterate follow-up, I think that's playing to not lose is the mentality before.
Yeah, now you're both at nothing, but your opponent has first draw, and presumably you think their card in hand is Rapid Shot. So even if you both draw a unit, you can't block.
So you are the you are the deck with the burn, and he's now drawn Soulfire Drake out, which he does play, so that he can play and activate a Pyro Knight. Firing off Sabotage here, not going to do a ton, I think.
I think you wait until Ilya plays a unit, because all of his spells are unit support.
Well, it's possible he's trying to pick off a weapon beforehand. or something like an Annihilate. But yes, waiting may have given you more time. Here we see a 1-1 staring down a 9-9. Who do you favor?
Generally, the 9-9 flyers are better than the 1-1 ground pounders, but we'll see if that plays out in practice.
Okay.
Yeah, so like Vanquish or Slay is the out here, and
didn't
Ilya
find them.
does not find it.
All right, so players are going to game 3. And they know what they want, so we're just gonna hop back into game shortly. I'm just updating the banner.
Yeah, so the playing for the long game did work. I mean, Toth does have more long game cards in his deck than Ilya does. Like Ilya's playing more 1-drops. He's playing more pump spells and weapons, whereas all of Toth's late game cards are just like big flying units or removal spells.
Mm-hmm. That's the problem with so the Argenport aggro deck is like super low to the ground, like it's playing all the 1-drops and things, and then it runs into a couple of problems because it doesn't have those big obliterates. Slay can't go face. It's very efficient, but just the advantage of having all that burn gives Toth the edge when the board stalls. Plus Warcry lets his late game units snowball more and what have you.
Yeah, I mean, the real advantage of the Argenport deck is Bartholo, which is an incredibly difficult to interact with unit that, when given lifesteal, wins the game by itself.
Mm-hmm. All right, so
looks like Ilya is switching up his sideboard a little bit, bringing in another Vanquish. Doesn't want to lose to a 9-9 Impending Doom again.
So we'll pull up the sideboards now. We've seen Sabotage be played twice and missed twice, so that's not quite ideal. I think it'll stick around, though, as we move back into game with the players tied 1-1 in the first match. Or the first set of this match of Flame versus Feather. Obviously, no one wants to go down 0-1, and everybody wants to get the Burn Queen deck off the table. So Ilya K would very much like to take this this final game.
So Ilya on the plate has a hand with 3 power, 3 3-drops, and a Lethrai Falchion. It looks like he's nosing towards keep. Now, the hand is very good unless your opponent plays a turn 1 Oni Ronin, and then you're just way, way behind.
Mm-hmm. So Toth throwing back what I thought was a pretty good hand, but he does find the turn 1 Oni Ronin. So...
well, his first hand didn't have a Shadow Source. You couldn't cast as far as Feather.
Okay, yes. That does make it a little bit weaker, and Toth draws a 5th power, but I mean, you've got Obliterate, and if you don't draw any more power, this hand curves perfectly. So, once again, Ilya K on the play, but the turn 1 Ronin to threaten him.
Yeah. So that thing is going to get to attack unimpeded here. Well, okay, Ilya top decks an Overseer, but does he even block with that? Given his hand, I don't think so. He's going to be able to silence the Ronin next turn and neuter a lot of its effectiveness.
I imagine we'll see an early game Sabotage here, because you're going to be hopefully curving out for the next couple turns.
Yeah, if you're Toth, do you take Slay or do you take Lethrai Falchion?
I think you're more worried about Falchion than you are about Slay. Like, you've got an Oni Ronin in play, and yeah, maybe the first Slay takes out an Impending Doom, but Impending Doom's not going to be able to block anything with a Falchion on it anyways. And Ilya K does decide to preserve his health total and just block there.
Interesting.
Well, I mean,
I agree with taking the Falchion with Sabotage. You don't have any removal in hand, so you can't race it.
I think the block there is more about stopping the Warcry train than it is about anything else. You've got a couple of units. You're not really too excited about the 2/2. Doesn't really do too much. So
I just figured next turn he was going to silence the Warcry off with Enforcer anyways.
Yes.
But maybe he wants to silence the follow-up, and even just playing an Enforcer on a clear board is fine.
Mm-hmm. Toth electing not to Sabotage there, might go for it this turn to sort of clear the way.
Yeah, didn't draw a 3-drop, so that's not going to hurt him at all.
So now that your opponent has 2 Slays, I imagine you're more concerned about the Falchion.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel great.
It also means you're going to have complete information after Ilya plays this second Enforcer next turn. But I don't know what your Toth is going to do against Double Enforcer when blocking isn't going to work against Double Slay.
So Torch could be good. Good answer. Toth does have a lot of time. We've talked about it before. The deck doesn't have a lot of reach, so you can go pretty low. Well, I mean, I guess you can tank one with like a Bandit Queen. Like play Bandit Queen to bait it out and then sabotage. Although Ilya K, in a deck full of removal, draws removal. So he's got the Vanquish follow-up as well. Yep.
Yeah, like X Kirby was saying, if there's anything that Argenport lacks, it's not removal. It's got all of the best removal in the game.
Well, it misses Torch, which is a fairly good removal spell. But
okay, it's missing the literal best one, I guess. But it has like the 2nd through 5th best.
I mean, Slay, it's pretty efficiently costed. And ooh, Pyronite is nice.
Geez, Toth is going to play this Sabotage, and he is going to be unhappy to see Ilya's hand.
Well, I mean, so he can take the Slay and then play Pyronite safely. And then the Vanquishes can't do anything immediately. And that's probably the best he can do. Because it wastes Ilya's time, if nothing else. Because it means that you're not going to just slam an Impending Doom into 2 Vanquishes.
Yeah, it means that he has a dead turn at least. Assuming he doesn't draw a unit that costs 3 or less.
That's what you hope. I mean, Toth has some time, but not a ton of time, because he's going to go to 10 after the attacks next turn, so... And Pyronite is not an alt on 5 anymore. It's an alt on 6, or, cost 6 now, so...
Yeah, so he will be able to do that next turn if he wants to. Because he hasn't played Power yet this turn.
Oh.
Because last turn he played Bandit Queen, so this is
that's
turn
true,
5.
that's true.
Looks like he's debating what he wants to feed into it. I think it's definitely Pyronite.
Yeah, I don't think it makes any sense to just slam Impending Doom and make him use one of his 2 Vanquishes. Because it's not like you expended any of his resources, and you know what he has in hand, so...
Yeah, I think giving the dead turn is more useful than being power efficient, I think, given that there's 2 Vanquishes. Like if there's only one, maybe you play the Impending Doom because you want the Pyronite to live,
Yeah,
but you'd rather the Impending Doom live anyways.
You do need to figure out how you're going to win the game, right? So maybe Impending Doom can exhaust his resources and he can eventually get a flying blocker in there, but it doesn't feel like he's ever going to be able to contest the air and therefore needs to go low to the ground. I don't think Toth has a lot of outs here. I think too much pressure has been applied since Impending Doom does 1 damage. Like, it might be better not to play Impending Doom. Take less damage. But...
Yeah, he had to draw, like, Torch into... Like, he just had to draw, like, 2 removal spells in a row. But then he didn't, so...
No, did not draw any removal. Like, he can play the Oni Ronin, but it doesn't do anything. This just gets vanquished. And then he goes down to 2. And is facing 3 lethal attackers. Yes, down to 1. And then he's facing 3 lethal attackers and draws an Instigator. So, that's going to do it. Ilya K is going to take the first game against Feather. And the Burn Queen deck is off the table. Okay. So, now we need to see...
so Burn Queen isn't even in Flame's lineup, so another Burn Queen 3-0 is completely out.
Yes. So the deck's been stopped. The bleeding is over.
So what do you send in against Argenport? Do you send in Angrychicken on Feln or Flash on Rakano Plate?
So just transitioning to the lineup here. That's kind of weird. Rakano's kind of the same deck in that it wants to weapon up its units. And I don't know if sending it into the meat grinder of Ilya K's removal is really what you want to be doing. Whereas Feln Control has a lot of like it has like lightning storms, it has permafrosts, and what have you that could be more effective into that. So I think I personally favor Feln Control. Worth noting that it's Angrychicken, the renowned Combre player, playing Feln Control. which is a little bit out of the ordinary, but
Yeah, I agree with your take. I think that it's definitely correct to bring in Feln.
okay.
Like, it has plenty of ways to incidentally pop an Aegis on a Bard. It's got planar removal for the impending dooms. It's got lightning storms for the cheap units.
Mm-hmm. Players are the teams are talking about it. Feather brought their literal army of all the players out there, so they're going to be chatting about it for a bit. We'll be dropping to them during sideboarding a little bit later on, I believe, as I realize that my graphics are not correct. So apologies to everyone who's looking at the on-screen graphics. I got my numbers backwards, and it was actually Toth 201 who was defeated by Ilya K. So it is Flame who was up 1-0. And they'd really like a win, as these teams have done a fair amount of pre-game trash talking, especially between the captain of Feather, Alunix, and Ilya K. So Flame's really looking to win this one. And from the players, it says that yes, it is indeed Angrychicken on Feln control. Okay. So we'll see the faded Ilya K versus Angrychicken matchup. Not that I actually have Angrychicken on my friends list, so whoops.
Angrychicken rocking the Roland avatar, appropriate.
Okay.
Well, not appropriate here, but appropriate for his typical Combre fare.
Yes. Although I don't currently have that up on the screen. Apologies
What do you need?
to our. I need Chicken's in-game friend numbers.
Okay.
He's our friend. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. So we'll be moving into in-game shortly. So do you think that Feln Control is favored? Or do you think that he's got a tough task ahead of him beating this Argenport aggro deck? Just all these.
I think Argenport aggro has a
bards.
tough task ahead of it against basically everything. I think Feln Control is definitely favored.
Well.
Nah, it's good against mid-range decks that don't have a lot of removal. But just Bard plus Falchion is just like complete lights out against like stuff like Elysian or Praxis, that kind of thing.
I liked your self plug there. Complete lights out, eh?
I mean, that's a real phrase. A real phrase that 13-year-old me thought was really awesome when he signed up for GameFAQs 15 years ago.
What a storied legacy, all the way back to GameFAQs. All right, looking at opening hands, Chicken's hand doesn't do anything. And Ilya K can get that turn 1 Blood Beetle into Minotaur synergy going.
Oh, baby. That's a 3/3 flyer for 1 if all works out.
So
Eat your heart out, Delver.
I have to say, Ilya K is one of the players most notorious for calling decks draft decks, and Ilya K's deck, more than anything else, looks like a draft deck here, with Blood Beetle
Pretty
into
mediocre
Oathkeeper.
that. I don't think I'd keep that opening hand in draft.
But fortunately, this is not
That's a little
draft.
mean.
This is constructed, and that's actually what he wants to do. You know, getting down 2 damage and buffing up your attacker on turn 2, that's fine. You know, this plays into Lightning Storm a little bit, but so does your entire deck. So, I don't think.
Oh yeah, it's certainly a very good draft hand. I mean, it's going to go well here. Like you said, Angrychicken's hand just doesn't do anything for a while, and even when he plays like his 4 and 5 drops, like they still can't block this Blood Beetle. It's going to get in for 12 damage.
So the difference between this deck and the traditional aggro decks that you're used to seeing, like Stonescar, Skycrag, and whatnot, is that Argenport has a lot of ways to kill a Black Sky Harbinger. So even if it goes off, he's got ways to come back, but we're pretty close to seeing Champion activated on 6. So that might turn things back a little bit the other way. There's going to be a Flying Falchion here, which is going to put a fairly fast clock. That's 7 damage, so that's 3 turns.
Yeah, I think he does just slam Felchian, especially with 2 of them.
No, he drew Bloodletter. Okay. That's not a 3-turn clock.
Yeah, I think I would like the Felchian. Both put you out of Lightning Storm range, and then the Bloodletter puts you back out of Lightning Storm range after getting Withering Witched.
Is there a... Do you play Withering Witch here to set up Harbinger? I think you do.
I think you have to.
I don't know about have to. You could play the champion, and then your opponent has to think about the champion. I think this attack is pretty loose. But it's not like his opponent is attacking with the 1/1 anyways. So
Yeah, I think that attack is fine. It doesn't matter, but it's fine.
now he slams the Falchion, and now things are a little awkward, because that's 10 damage. Obviously, Ilya K's life total, or health total, does not matter. You don't have a flying blocker in champion, so you're priced into playing BSH, but at least it can trade.
Yeah, here's where playing that Bloodletter really hurts you. If you had played Felchian first, this beetle would be at 4 health right now and able to survive the Blackscar Harbinger. Whereas now the Minotaur Ambassador is going to get killed, so it can only get up to 3 health.
But Angrychicken can't be feeling comfortable, because Ilyake's deck is all things that kills Black Sky Harbinger, with the exception of Vanquish. So literally any removal spell is his death. Alright, well, that's not a removal spell. And that's not necessarily bad for Ilyake. He doesn't need to push here. Celestial Omen could be quite good for Angrychicken. Goes and gets him what he needs.
Yeah, you definitely just get like an Annihilate or some removal spell.
Something that can take him out.
Yeah, I think that Bloodletter first is going to end up costing Ilya the game here. Nope, finds a Slay. All right.
Nope. Alright, so, like we said, the whole deck full of things that kill it, and Blood Beetle
just did
takes
30
it.
damage with Blood Beetle. I don't know if I've ever seen that before.
Okay, so once again, Feather is on the back foot, and so we'll go check in with them, although we already did. We're going to debut this new fantastic sideboarding workaround that I came up to show you guys who's talking, as that has been a request. So we'll be hopping into them momentarily.
Baby. Yeah, suffocates and strikes, of course.
Yeah, so we had 3 strikes. The suffocates are pretty terrible, so I don't think we want to play them.
Still think, like, we lost all 3 games to just...
To a 9/2 flyer?
But strikes does the same thing.
No, yeah, basically,
Suffocate.
I meant 3/3 flyer, 2/2 flyer, just beating us down.
Yeah, but in this case you place Permafrost already. And you play Annihilate and Death Strike.
Permafrost?
You play 3 Permafrost main.
Oh, okay, because, yeah, oh, damn it, my...
So basically you want strikes
The
and
list I used scroll down. Yeah, 3 Permafrost.
Yeah, so you want to cut Omen, Gift, and Channel because those cards are
Yeah, of
completely
course, you got the whole top end.
Well, you can still keep in Vara because you need some top end due to the fact you're playing so much power. And Vara is the best top end you have in this deck because they can't protect against it.
Island's favor though. If you're reducing your curve, if you're lowering your curve.
You're not really lowering your curve because you're still keeping Vara.
Okay.
And you need to play Island's favor to even have a chance of activating Cunning on curve. So like basically just add those 3. And the real question becomes, because like your matchup is going to be decided majority in the mulligan stage. Like if you're in the play, you have a huge advantage versus his deck, but I think that's just what you want to do. Like in general, the removal doesn't matter. He's going to side out removal most likely.
Definitely will have 4 protect, of course. Will he have Sabo?
No, he shouldn't have board in sabotages because you have no way of popping ages sufficiently. So.
Oh right, of course. I mean, he runs Vara's favor.
You just do well if you want to favor face. That's kind of wasted, but yeah. I think we just do what I wrote prior because it's better. Like if you want to sub, like, yeah.
It's not like the weapons are that big of a problem in this matchup. Not like not like the previous one.
No,
Yeah,
like
they
if your
can pretty much
weapons,
get as much life as they want.
Mm-hmm.
their life gains is kind of like irrelevant. But yeah, I think we're good. You can, like, if anyone else has an idea, but like, I don't think you want to.
No, I trust you.
I mean, you're the Feln expert.
Yeah.
Essentially.
If we're gonna go against you, that's like.
Black?
you already did so. Okay, so Chicken needs to restart his PC.
Of course, yeah.
Where is it?
Did you post it in?
They can
We
listen
should
in.
probably post in Team Need.
Yeah, I was
That's
thinking
true.
the same.
But they're in voice, so they should hear it.
All right.